Hey everybody, you're listening to The Ox and the Rat, the show where we put ancient tales to the test of modern times. How you doing over there, my friend?
I am good. How are you, Ox?
Not bad. Yeah, it's been a crazy week. How about you? Just a simple one for you? A crazy week? An insane week? A normal week?
I would say normal, doing the same thing, just trying to exercise, eat right. That's about it. That's all I do.
As rats should.
Yes.
Rats should. You do have a very short lifespan, you know.
Yep, potentially. But
Potentially. Right. All right. So, as you know, we love to take on Aesop's fables and take a look at them. And we've got a good one today. I hope you're going to like it. So, without further ado, let's get to it. This one's called The Fox and the Grapes. And I think it's got some... I think it may have been the inspiration, perhaps, for some very famous modern novels that you may be aware of, Rat. I don't know. But let's find out. How about that?
sounds good.
Okay. So it's called The Fox and the Grapes. A fox one day spied a beautiful bunch of ripe grapes hanging from a vine trained along the branches of a tree. The grapes seemed ready to burst with juice, and the fox's mouth watered as he gazed longingly at them. The bunch hung from a high branch, and the fox had to jump for it. The first time he jumped, he missed it by a long way, so he walked off a short distance and took a running leap at it, only to fall short once more. Again and again he tried, but in vain. Now he sat down and looked at the grapes in disgust. "What a fool I am," he said. "Here I am wearing myself out to get a bunch of sour grapes that are not worth gaping for." And off he walked very, very scornfully. Do you want to guess the moral of this tale?
So it seems like he jumps up, he's trying to get those grapes, can't get them, so he says, "Screw it. These things suck anyway." Now,
Yeah. That's a good Cole's Notes.
yeah. So the moral is, if you can't get what you want, just change your mindset and think that it sucks.
You know, that would be one moral, and I swear to God, a vast majority of people, that might be the one that they'd take away. So maybe that's you too, but we'll find out. I think that, I know, I'm looking at it. So I'll just give you the moral. It says, there are many who pretend to despise and belittle that which is beyond their reach. So essentially, they were great, those grapes, but you can't get them, so now they suck, right? Essentially what you said.
Sour grapes.
Yes, sour grapes. Isn't there like a book that has a name with grapes, famous American novel?
Grapes of Wrath.
I have no idea if that has anything to do with this. I'm just saying, it could be. It could be. That dude or woman who wrote that may have read Aesop's fables and said, "Well, now I've got an idea for a book." I don't know. I haven't read it, so I don't know.
I'm assuming that's where the term comes from, sour grapes.
Yeah, sour grapes. That's more like the term. I guess I conflated the two together. I thought like sour grapes is the same as the Grapes of Wrath because I haven't read the book, and those are the only two grape references I'm aware of. So
you're in a better position to do a little search. What is the meaning of sour grapes?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's look it up.
Because sour grapes, it's kind of like you're pouting. Or
it's actually
in my mind.
American crime documentary, but it's also it's an expression from The Fox and the Grapes. Yeah, it literally is.
Nailed it. And what's the meaning?
Right.
As we
hold on,
come to use it today.
I got to go through the disambiguation on Wikipedia. Fuck.
Hey, you just got to Google what does sour grapes mean.
I'm working on it. Sour. What does sour grapes mean?
I think you use it when
Yeah, go.
I think you use it when somebody's envious of, they're like, oh, that guy got a new car, and then you'd be like, sour grapes.
Well, this is killer. This description I found, used to refer to an attitude in which someone adopts a negative attitude to something because they cannot have it themselves. That's perfect.
Yeah,
Isn't
so
it?
it's pretty much like the story there.
Oh, 100%. It couldn't be closer. So, all right. So, as we do, as is our wont, let's explore this tale. Let's figure out if it still holds water. Because from my end, I don't know.
Have you ever coveted somebody's
Coveted.
personal objects or things?
Yeah, and now it sucks. Yeah. I just want to reach beyond the basics and like, oh well, it wasn't that cool, that thing. Just something like broader. I mean, in a general sense, it 100% makes sense. I do that. You do that all the time when you're a kid. Well, you do that. I do that. I did that. I think many people do that. I think in a larger context, I think that's a lot tougher to touch on. If there's anything in a bigger sense, like, okay, I'll give you one. But I'll preface this in the sense that I'm not sure that it's something I actually want. All right. PhDs. I think that PhDs are a bloody joke. I think that what they represent is longevity rather than intelligence. I think that's what they are. Now, I have a master's degree, and you could scorn that if you want. Doesn't mean what it used to. But academic titles, in some ways, like, being somebody in the system right now, it's like, what is your value? I think about this all the time. I'm like, what do you do? What do you add, like, beyond talk? Now, I don't mean to characterize everybody with a similar title, PhD. That's different. I mean, if you're a molecular biologist, you're definitely doing something a little bit different than somebody, with a PhD in. Oh God, I'm just gonna lay off the whole
Fables.
categorization in fables in classic lit. I don't know, because I actually believe in the stuff that we're doing right now. So I just think that, okay, I'll give you an example. In my department at my university right now, it's all talk, and I've said this before. It's just you get points if you problematize situations, right? You don't really need to pose solutions, or you pose solutions in a vacuum where it's like, well, I've pointed out all the flaws in the system. Let me give you a random basic thing you could do without any real substance, That's like every paper I've read so far this year. It's like, there are so many problems, all of these problems, like, oh my gosh, it's so unfair how, it's so wrong how, it's not, it's like, well, these ideas didn't come up out of nowhere. Like, you dismissing them is not fair in the first place. But if you're going to dismiss them, then come to the table with a solution. And I guess that's really, betraying the change that I've had moving out of academia into the area of adult education. Like, you can't just complain. Like, you have to find solutions. And I find far too often, just to bring it back again, that what happens so often is that you get points for making an argument rather than for posing a solution. And very many, I would say, PhDs are built on the back of revisionism without substitution, or, criticism in that sense. If that makes sense. That was a long diatribe.
So, what is the sour grapes portion of that rant?
Well, is there? Well, I guess the question is, do I have sour grapes, or am I justifying a meaning? Am I leveling a meaningful criticism? What do you think?
Well, other people see the PhDs as a juicy fruit that's going to move you. And so they see that as something that's good, and you're thinking that, you're not reaching that PhD. You're only at a master's. So are you looking at that saying, this is not that great? Is that some sort of way to convince yourself that you don't need a PhD?
Maybe. And that's a fair criticism. I mean, it's a logical question at the very least. I don't want it. I don't want one. I just don't see it because I don't want to work in academia. I had a lot of questions about whether or not I could. I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I've certainly had opportunities to work in that field. It's just not where I want to be, I guess. But I don't know. It's hard to prove or say one way or the other. I want to do things. I want to accomplish things. So that's where I think, I'm not sour grapes, but I could see how other people could think like, well, you're just upset because these people have it and you don't, so therefore you're demeaning it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot of time to commit to something that you're not getting a lot of products out of, I suppose. You do your research and you're supposed to write papers and whatnot, but is anybody reading those?
Do you listen a lot to the Joe Rogan podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember, it was way back a year ago, man. I gotta come more prepared to these things, I suppose. But not a year ago. It was a couple years ago. Years ago, maybe 2.5 years. Man, going way back in the list of his podcast, where he had these people on who did junk science. Do you remember this? I think I sent it to you.
What kind of junk science?
They made up junk science about how dogs would get you remember that? I can't remember it, but somebody please link to it. Yeah.
He basically they were actual, I don't know, I assume they're PhDs or smart people.
They're legitimate, people.
Yeah, scientists or something like that.
Yep.
Anyways, they went to a dog park, I think, and they were just talking about I don't know, maybe abuse in the dog park, like how dogs abuse other dogs or things like that. I don't know. It was basically just a kind of a nonsense article that
it was designed
they wrote
as
seriously.
A nonsense article. That's the key. They wrote seriously about a nonsense topic that they were aware was nonsense, right?
Yeah, and everybody accepted
published.
It. Yeah.
Yeah.
They got I think some accolades. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If somebody can reference that, we're far too primitive at this point of our evolution as a podcast. But if somebody can reference that, it's golden, and it really puts things into question. So, do I have sour grapes? I don't know. That would suggest that I've got an argument tonight to make. But you know what? Argue all you want. Maybe I do. Whatever. So maybe we'll bring it back. How about you? There are many who pretend to despise and belittle that which they cannot, that which is beyond their reach. Have you ever belittled something that is beyond your reach?
Probably, yeah. I think I probably looked at being, I'm guessing, not totally, I wasn't just trying to throw barbs at people, but probably being fit, like a muscular kind of person. I always felt like that was kind of out of my reach. So you kind of, lean on that stereotype of like what do you call them? Muscle heads, something or others.
Yeah, I get you.
Just dumbos that don't really they don't have any intellect. You just only care about your body, kind of thing. So that's more like, I don't know, probably like a teen. It wasn't something that I consciously was like, oh, everybody's dumb, but I thought that was always kind of maybe out of my grasp to attain that kind of body. It still might be, but
so you'd characterize those people as dumb,
maybe potentially, yeah. Not everybody, but I just thought the pursuit was kind of dumb, I suppose. Oh. But now that I get older and I realize that it's totally about health. Well, for the most part, anyways.
Wow. Yeah, there's that. That's a rabbit hole for sure.
Yeah. If you're you got a healthy body, not taking steroids and all this stuff. That and probably, mine are all kind of superficial things, but just looking back on like cars and things like that, people with kind of fancy cars, same sort of thing.
Yeah, but those that doesn't belittle. Well, take a term. That doesn't, just because they're superficial things that you despise doesn't mean that it wasn't valid criticism. So don't throw it down the drain. Maybe you had a point. Maybe it is kind of bullshit the way people talk about my car, and like, who cares? I see that all the time, man. People like speed down the road and it's right out of school. Like when I always go for a walk at 11:30, between 11:30 and 1. I go for a 20-minute walk every single day, and I'd say about 50% of the time there is one of four, I think it's 4 cars that I've identified, do their whole speed down the road thing for no particular reason. And it's a school zone. It's literally a school. It's a school road that they speed down. And it's like, geez, maybe I'm getting really old, but it's like, it is kind of ridiculous. I'm like, what do you think you're doing? Like, are you trying to impress me? You must not be. Oh, you're trying, or maybe you're trying to impress me. But why the hell do you care? Like, I don't know who you are. But I guarantee you, I did that before when I was younger too. So just to go there, but yeah, just because it's a superficial thing, Rat, doesn't mean that it's not relevant.
That's true. But now I'm kind of appreciating a car from a different perspective, I guess, from like a design standpoint, where you're like, oh, that is kind of a nice car. But I don't know, just being around, I never had a new car growing up. We had I think our newest one was from the year I was born, and we still had that when I was in high school. So I looked at it in kind of jealousy that we could never afford a nice car. So therefore I thought they were dumb.
Yeah.
Pointless to have.
Yeah, so you're wondering whether or not the the criticism that you're leveling is based on some kind of internal vulnerability or something like that.
Maybe, or just all the other people that were in my city, how they acted. Those people that owned those cars and how they acted just wasn't something that I was about. I like the vintage Volkswagen van or something like that.
Oh, dude, don't even get me started. I've wanted a Euro van forever. If it's got a bed, it's got everything I need.
Yep. So maybe it's just something that I didn't really like anyways. Maybe it was that personality thing. But I have a hard time thinking of sour grapes. I guess
relating it to modern life.
Super rich, walking around. I live in a big city.
Huh.
and walking around the city, and I look up at like a nice apartment building, and I
do that all the
realize
time, man.
like
Yeah.
I'm never gonna have that.
Yeah.
And you just gotta accept
all
that.
the time.
Like those people are living this nice life, potentially in theory. They're
Be
living a nice
contemptuous.
life in this nice apartment. Giant. I live in a tiny one. They got a huge apartment. I look at
Or
that.
you could.
I'm not sour grapes about it. I just accept the fact that that's not something that I'll ever have.
Well, you shouldn't say that. I think that's wrong.
Well, I'm
I would
looking.
never.
I mean, I'm in a city. These are going to be $10 million apartments.
Yeah. I get what you're saying, but like, I don't like the idea of never. I won't.
That
I won't
specifically.
say. I refuse to say that to myself about almost anything. Given my past, I won't allow myself to say no or never. When people say that to me, it really pisses me off. And I'm just like, all right, let's do it. So maybe somebody needs to be like, you'll never be a millionaire. I'd be like, okay, take you on. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
a bit different. But
even a million's not going to get you that thing. So what I'm thinking in that respect is that like those far out of reach, you also have to accept the fact that that's not going to happen. And I could have a nice apartment and feel the exact same way as those people do anyways. Or I might even feel better, so who knows?
Well, now you're talking about, being thankful and aware of what you got, and that's a different thing. I think that if I'm honest with myself, I have an inherent disregard for wealth. Not disregard is not the right word, but I tend to be very suspicious of people with wealth, and I assume, and I've seen it in my own life. I'm a middle class person, so who am I to say this? But that I feel like that they're disconnected or that they don't deserve what they have, and that's not the correct emotion to have. Because I know a lot of people who are middle class now, or who are like upper middle class, and that's a moving the goalpost kind of a thing, that have really worked for it. What I dislike is old money. I think that gives me some sour grapes. Old money bothers me because it's like you can just keep it forever and it propagates itself. It just like. People with old money know people with old money, and they all have their old money, and they put their old money together in their projects, and they own property and blah blah. Like, they get into the right universities, and that gives me some sour grapes. That's like, I don't want that. What I do want, though, is I do want the entrepreneurial nature and the achievement of the position. I want to achieve it. Like, I want to get those grapes. And I have to live that way right now because I have to. I'm starting from scratch again, and I need to have that drive, and I need to believe in the entrepreneurial spirit that animates, well, at least some countries, and hopefully mine quite a bit. I think that there's a lot to be said for desire. And I can't get jaded. So I refuse to fully believe in this moral tale, but I understand where it comes from.
I think that I like it, but I don't think that I'm necessarily that person where I would say that whatever it is that I couldn't reach was negative or bad. I would feel bad myself because I couldn't reach it, the goal. So for example, working out, I know that losing weight and all that, having a better body is a good thing. And if I can't reach that goal, I don't turn around and say like, oh, that's stupid now. I never even really thought it was stupid. I just thought, I guess their personalities and their egos were stupid to begin with. But
been there.
Now that I can't, or if I can't reach it, I just feel bad as a person that I can't obtain my goal. So instead, I just feel bad. I don't make the goal bad.
Well, let me return to a favorite phrase that angers everybody. Well, not everybody, but a certain someone that I know. And, if this is something that people are really failing at. I'm not saying you're failing. I'm just pointing this out. Too often we see obstacle as the thing that we need to stop at, but it is the thing that needs to be destroyed. Like, or again, to go with the famous statement by Simon Sinek, the obstacle is the way. If you wake up and you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, man, I don't like what I see. The answer isn't to change isn't to change the direction of your thinking or to avoid addressing that. It's to start asking why for certain. And, with a lot of examples, it's really just to go start attacking it. I mean, the question why I've talked about before is super important. If you ask yourself 3 whys, it's gonna lead you to where you need to be, right? Like, I don't like the way I look. Why? Well, because I feel really.
Let's try it. You asked me the 3 whys.
Okay, well, what am I asking you about?
Just the weight example.
Okay, well, you got to say something. You've got to.
Well, I just gave the example about.
Okay, so I'll just start with why. Why?
Mm-hmm. So why do I want to achieve the goal? I guess.
No. Like, why do you? It's about why do you feel X?
Okay, why do I feel that I'm fat and need to get in shape?
I didn't say that, but sure, go.
But that's one. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you could just see it. It's there, and it's not good for you. I'm not like obese or anything.
Okay. Well, let's stop there. So you're talking about health. So it's not healthy, but you also raised something else, right? You talked about image and your weight, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why do you feel? Let's address one of those. Why are you concerned about your health?
Concerned about health? Well, I mean, it's just I don't know. Isn't that an obvious one? You want to be healthy. I would like to be healthy. I guess that's why. Longevity, I suppose. I'm not thinking a lot about longevity, but I know that being healthy now is just a good thing.
Why have you not done anything about it? Or why are you still here? Why are you not achieving that end goal?
I was getting kind of close, I suppose. A couple of years ago, I had a good routine down. And then every time I would leave for vacation, I would come back. I didn't have strict diet. Come back, you just gain all the weight again, and then you got to start from the beginning again. So
maybe I got to ask another question. Why do you not have a routine? Sometimes
currently
it takes more than 3.
Currently I do, but why I didn't before, I had some good excuses. But basically I just didn't, I joined a gym, then the gym closed, which got me out of my routine. And then I just basically stopped.
So the
Stopped
gym.
working out.
Why can't you work out without a gym?
It's just like work. I prefer almost to go to an office and do a bunch of work and then go home. I prefer to go to the gym, do the work, go home.
So it's a mindset thing.
Maybe. I'm starting to work at home now. I'm getting into routine at home, so that works.
Right.
And the whole
maybe it's the idea that you approach it as work, but I approach approach weight loss, or not weight loss, but fitness as work as well. I just approach it as necessary work, and I avoid any complications by fitting it into my schedule. You wake up at 5:30, and what the hell are you gonna do but work out? So I've kind of like biohacked my way through it. I think that's a thing that a lot of people make a mistake about, and they think that like fit people are like, oh, they really enjoy it. It's like, I hate every single minute of working out. I really do. And you'll listen to everybody else, they say the same thing. It's not enjoyable, but it's the post-release that is enjoyable, the achievement and the feeling, and all the stuff that goes along with that. But we've really moved beyond our scope here. To return it back, talking about despising and belittling things, I think to bring that back around to what you were talking about, I think it's about understanding things and understanding yourself as well. So why did the fox? Why was the fox so upset? Because he felt, okay, I can't speak for the fox because I'm not a fox, and I wasn't that fox, obviously, but like, he was inadequate, right?
Yeah. So do you just? But that's kind of, I think, like if I look at that high-rise apartment and I see it and I'm not inadequate, but I'm okay with saying, like, if I don't have that, that's fine. So he was never gonna, if his only way to get those grapes was to jump, he was never gonna get them. So is the moral that we should accept our faults?
Faults or limitations?
Or limitations.
Different perspectives, right?
Limitations, let's say.
Yeah, I think that's a really good change. We certainly should.
But don't limit yourself.
Oh, damn, that's good. Accept your limitations, but don't limit yourself. There's a shirt in that. That's really good. I like that. Hell yeah, I'd buy that. That's really good. Yeah, I think that's a good one. It's a good reversal on this. Although it doesn't state it, but that by itself does not imply that the moral is not correct. That there are many people who pretend to despise, and that's key, pretend to despise and belittle that which is beyond their reach. If you hate models, but you became a model and then you liked it, then you'd be like, well, you're kind of a hypocrite, aren't you?
And
or
I guess, you hated models and then you dated one and you're like, actually they're good.
Actually, they're great. I love models. Yeah. Yeah. Who doesn't like models, I guess? I don't know.
I don't know. Do you do that often? I don't really.
What?
I don't really say like, oh, that's stupid, because I can't do it or I can't have it.
Oh, I used to do it a lot. Because I was Mr. Negativity for sure. And like if I would just diminish everything that I couldn't do. These days, I'm very much more, after my whole health crisis, very, very much more the person who's like, oh, is that all? Like, I could do that. Like before, I don't know. There's a lot of things that get folded into that, like mindset, blah blah blah, whatever. But and having near-death experiences is always great. But I'm very different. I have a very different approach, and I did used to be that person. And I would diminish the grapes. I would say the grapes are shit. Yeah, great that you can get them, but it was always a but. And now the key is, like, do I really want the grapes? So I'm asking questions like you are. It's like, yeah, I could have that apartment, but more money, more problems, and all that. Or more so like, I guess I gotta be careful with the words. I guess it's a little bit about rationalizing things to an extent, like being like, I'm content with less. Would I
It's a
be
fine
content
line.
with less if I could have more? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, do we think this is true or not true? Thumbs up, thumbs down on this one.
I am 100% thumbs up on this because it doesn't matter if it's me who's like this. There are many who pretend to despise me a little, and that's 100% as far as I'm concerned. There are many who do that.
I'd
and I used to
say
be one of them.
Yeah, I probably still do it as well. I think I did it probably a little bit for this Spartan race that I was going to be forced to join.
Forced to join.
Yeah,
Well, you gotta dig a little deeper there, or maybe that's a tale for another time.
maybe. But anyway, I kind of looked
done
at
that
it.
for the tortoise and the hare. That would have been
Yeah.
perfect for the tortoise and the hare.
I could have.
You fell in a mud puddle and.
Well, I just looked. I don't know. It's hard to say if I just dislike it or if I know that I would struggle at it in certain parts, especially like a rope climb. Never done that before. But
Tough.
am I just sour grapes about it because I can't do it, or do I just not like it? Anyways, I think this one is prevalent or is good for today because Instagram and all those things. Just looking at Instagram, everybody's look at
man, you
look
took
at their
that
body.
long to get to the. Yeah.
Well, because it's not really me. I mean, I don't really look at.
I know you're looking at male models all day. Come on.
Yeah, actually, I do. It does pop up because I click on like fitness things, so it's in my feed. But yeah, I think that's pretty good. This one's pretty good for today.
All right.
Easier to covet.
We are covetous animals, the ox and the rat. And that does it for us today, friends. Hope you join us next time, where we'll be looking at another of Aesop's tales, as always. And look forward as well to third parties joining. And we're going to be looking at some at getting some guest speakers in. So I hope you're sticking around for those as well.
Yes, and make sure to check out the Instagram page, newly created, where you can get these morals every week and a nice little digital collage representing the moral. That's the Ox and the Rat on Instagram. And give this video a like if you liked it. That would encourage us to do more.
Right. Awesome, guys. Till next time.
Adios.